Hi, so I was recently lucky enough to go to see Soma in concert, and so I wanted to share a little bit about that for anyone who might have been curious. This isn't going to be about how to get tickets, because I was very lucky in that somebody happened to have an extra ticket for me, and so I didn't have to deal with buying it for myself. Normally, you have to enter a lottery and get a ticket through E+, which requires you have a Japanese phone number. So it's very, very difficult to get one if you are not living in Japan. So I currently live in the US, and so my first stop was to go to Tokyo. I spent a few days there, and then I took the Shinkansen up to Sendai, where the concert was taking place. I got there the day before, so that I was sure to have plenty of time, and I wanted to do a little bit of sightseeing while I was there in the city. So the day of the concert, I took the subway over to the venue, and the concert starts at 5 o'clock. The doors open at 4, but the merchandise goes on sale at 1, and the line starts at 12. So, if you want some of the merchandise that tends to sell out, you're encouraged to get in line early. I wasn't really getting anything like that, but I was anxious and wanted to go early anyway. So I got in line around 12:30. As you can see, it was crazy long. There were a lot of people. So I just waited there until 1 o'clock, and then once you get inside, they have all the merchandise out on display so you can see it, and you can pick it up and touch it and see how it feels and check the sizing on the t-shirts and stuff. And then you go up to the counter and tell the cashier what you want, and they get it for you, and then you go. And so after you have the regular merchandise, he also has gacha merchandise for sale. The gacha merchandise is 600 yen, which is roughly $4, I think, with the current exchange rate. And so what you do is you buy a token. You can buy up to 10 tokens at a time, and then you put a token in one of the gacha machines. They have portable machines. They're really kind of janky, but you crank them really hard. And eventually one of the little capsules will come out. And then once a machine is empty, they'll swap it out for another machine and then refill the one that just emptied. They had 4 or 5 in a row, so that the line could move fairly quickly. So there was one thing that I really wanted, because I collect enamel pins, and so I really wanted one of the enamel pins. So I just started with 3 turns, and I was lucky enough to get it on my second turn. I wanted the red one, but I was willing to deal with the blue one just because who knows with gacha, and I couldn't spend any more money than I had already spent. I had bought a light stick from the regular merch, and then I bought a copy of his CD because I hadn't had a copy yet. I'd just been listening on Spotify, and if you bought it at the venue, then you got a special file folder as well as a thank you gift. And so that was my haul, basically. So once you have gone through merchandise, there's just a lot of time to kill before the concert starts. They have a big open area outside the venue, so a lot of people just sort of hung around there and took pictures with their stuff and that sort of thing. I went and got some lunch at a nearby convenience store, and then went back to the plaza to eat there. And then I met up with some other people in the Discord server that I'm in, including the person who was kind enough to help me get the ticket. And so we met up and we just sort of hung out for a little bit until the venue opened, took pictures, that whole fun thing. And then finally it's time to go inside. We go inside, and they moved the merch table and the gacha table off to the side a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to navigate because it gets kind of crowded. And they also had a box to put in letters for Soma if you wanted to. I had written a letter the night before, just telling him that I was always really impressed with his lyrics because sometimes I translate them for practicing my Japanese. And so I did my best to write it, and my kanji needs a lot of work, but I think it was legible, so hopefully he gets to read that. So after I delivered the letter, then we did a quick bathroom break because we'd been waiting outside for several hours at that point. And then we went our separate ways, everybody in the Discord, so that we could go to our seats. One other thing I forgot to mention is outside the venue, they also have flower stands. Our group had pitched in to put together a flower stand, or to order a flower stand, and it had all of the countries we were from listed, which was really cool. And so those were on display outside earlier, and then they were moved inside once the venue was open for us to go inside. So you could take pictures and all that fun stuff too. So once we're inside, we get our seats. I had a fairly decent seat, could see pretty well. Me and my friend both had binoculars so that we could see a little closer, which was great, but we could still see pretty great without them anyway. And then, of course, everybody had their light sticks, which was really great. You don't have those at American shows, which was really fun. And, of course, there was no recording or pictures allowed during the performance, so I don't have any of that to show you. But that's to be expected. So the show opened with Hammer Girl with a special intro, which was a great opening. It's very energetic, and everybody was super into it. I won't go through the whole set list, but I can put it in the description for anyone who's interested. Some of the more memorable parts, he really encouraged audience participation, which is kind of hard with the Japanese audience since they tend to be more reserved. But he was like, definitely let me hear you sing along with the songs that have audience participation, like with Puppet Mood was really fun to sing along with because it has those do-do-do-doos, which is really fun. And then a couple songs later we did Riot, which also has some great shouting parts for the audience to do. That was also a lot of fun. He had MC moments every so often where he would talk a little bit about his experience on tour, his experience writing. There was a part where he was talking about how he likes having everybody stand up because people would sit during the MCs and then stand up during the singing, would use the phrase that you use in school at the beginning of class, go Hiraeth, and everybody stands up. So he did that at the end of one of the MCs, and it was really funny, and people laughed. At the very end of the encore, he did Ventura, which, if you're familiar with, has a very heavy metal scream in it, which he did, and you could see him prep and hold onto the mic and get ready to scream. And I was so impressed because he could still had a voice after, and could still sing and still sounded really good. So that was really cool. But there was clearly a reason that was at the very end of the set list, which I don't blame him whatsoever. But he also did a couple of my favorite songs, which I was really happy about. He did Rakuen, which is my favorite, and he did Memento, which is another one of my favorites. He didn't do Date or Rhapsody Inferno, and he did mention that because he normally does those, but the tone of this tour was a little bit different, and they didn't quite fit the tone. So that's why he didn't do them this time, and I totally get that. It makes sense. And I knew I wouldn't get all of my favorite songs, and so I was still happy with the ones I did get. I'm sure there's tons of things I'm forgetting. I was all in a bit of a haze at the end, but it was so much fun. And I think that is the end of my recap. So that was basically it. The show itself was great. He still sounds amazing live. The atmosphere is great. Everybody is super into it. Everybody was super nice. I didn't take a whole lot of video inside because I didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable, and I didn't want to get in the way and that sort of thing. So you'll just have to accept what I have. So after the show, everybody cleared out pretty quickly. We took a few more pictures, and since it was dark by this point, a lot of people wanted to take pictures with their light sticks, with the sign, and that sort of thing. And then, of course, there's a line that formed there to take a picture with the sign with your light stick. But I didn't want to wait in a line for that, so I just sort of snapped one real quick. And so that was fine. But then our group met up again, and we went out to dinner, and then we went our separate ways, and it was pretty great. I did some more sightseeing the next day, which was really nice. Sendai is a really cool city. I recommend it. And yeah, just the whole thing was really great. I was really excited I got to go. I'd been wanting to see him in concert for a very long time. I've been a fan for a very long time, and it was awesome. I recommend it if you can. I know not a lot of people can, so maybe some of you can live vicariously through this. I don't know. So yeah, that's it. If there's anything else you guys want to hear about or you want me to touch on, feel free to leave a comment, and I will do the best I can. Thanks.